And now here I am. I'm gonna. It says I'm losing frames. I hope it's I hope my internet's working well enough. So this channel has, I think, 3 subscribers. Um, I don't know if this is actually going to be something that I pursue. Uh, I don't think it is. I don't think. I don't think it's really going to be worth it in the long run. But hey, something fun to do once in a while. Could talk about whatever. Oh, I have a viewer. I wonder if that's Ryan. If it is Ryan, what's up, buddy? If it's someone random, then hello. um, don't really have much to talk about. This is kind of a test more than anything. So if there's anything uh, that you want to talk about, let me know in the chat. I was just going to go over some basic news stories. If anyone out there follows baseball, let me switch this over. Haha. If anyone out there follows baseball, Albert Pujols has recently left the Angels. I'm a Angels fan, unfortunately for me, and he ended up with the Dodgers somehow. Now, Albert Pujols was a good player about 10 years ago. Let's see here. News about over 30 home runs a couple times, and wasn't terrible, but he was never an all-star. He was never a good player, you know. And towards the end here, he was batting 200 every year. For those who don't know that much about baseball, batting 200 is not a good thing. So let's just. Oh, what is this? I hate when they do this. Pujols signing with Los Angeles Dodgers. Now I don't know why the Dodgers would want Albert Pujols. He plays first base, and he would make a okay designated hitter. He's not that athletic now. He's 41. There's no designated hitters in the National League, so and they have a decent first. So it is kind of it is pretty strange. It says a person with knowledge of the deal says Los Angeles Dodgers are signing veteran first baseman Albert Pujols to a major league deal. I mean, it's actually kind of shocking, like what the Dodgers thought they could get out of this guy at this point in his career. Um, in the final season of a 10-year, $240 million contract with the Angels, who didn't win a playoff game during his tenure. Yeah, that hurts. Being an Angels fan, it's rough, man. It's rough. We haven't been in the playoffs in probably 6 years. It's brutal. And the last time we were in the playoffs, we didn't last very long. So the Dodgers signed him. I don't know what the Dodgers are thinking. I know that he wanted to play more when he was on the Angels, and frankly, he's not going to get to play every game. He's not going to get to play very much at all on the Dodgers. They have Max Muncy as a first baseman, and there's no designated hitter. You know, they'll probably pinch hit him here and there, and maybe he'll play first once in a while, but just a bizarre move. Now, it's also worth noting that I don't think they had to pay very much. I think the Dodgers are probably paying him the league minimum because the Angels are still paying for the last year of his contract. So I think they're paying the last year of his contract minus the league minimum. But still, it's bizarre because you're using up a roster spot for a 41-year-old player that bats 200 now on a good day, you know. So I don't know. If any baseball fans stop by, let me know what you think about that. I think that's a pretty strange decision. I don't know if I felt bad for the guy, and that's why this deal happened or what, but maybe maybe Magic Johnson just felt that he deserved more of a farewell tour than he got. Um, Joe Madden, the Angels manager, actually came out and said on a podcast that Albert really didn't leave them much room to do anything else besides drop his ass. He was pretty adamant that he didn't want to retire this year, and he wanted to play every day, even though the Angels have Jared Walsh, who's an up and coming young guy, and he's really good. They have him at first base, so it's like Pujols can't reasonably expect to play first base every day. And then on the designated hitter side, the Angels have Shohei Ohtani, so it's like, I mean, there's no way in hell he was gonna be able to play every day. It's just not feasible, and it's not reasonable. He's way over the hill, and that's not just his age. His stats, he was batting 196, I think, for the Angels before this all went down. So, all right, I'll get off that. I know most people probably don't give two shits about baseball. So, like I said, I thought I had a news tab open. I guess it was this one. But yeah, this is just kind of a test. I honestly can't believe I had a viewer earlier. I thought I was going to be all by myself. I'm pretty sure I only have 3 subscribers on this channel, so I don't know. I don't know what the odds are of that. It was probably my buddy Ryan. Let's see. Tiger missing in Houston found safe. So this was kind of an interesting story. There was this guy that was wanted for murder, and he had his lawyer, for obvious reasons, but he had a tiger with him when he was being chased by the cops, and the tiger got away, but he got caught. It was something like that. So the story says the 9-month-old Bengal tiger that had been missing for days in Houston was found Saturday and was transferred to the appropriate authorities. We are happy to report that the missing tiger seen in a Houston neighborhood last week has been found and appears to be unharmed. Well, that's good. I was kind of worried that they were going to shoot that thing. And it up until that point, it hadn't done anything wrong. I understand shooting a tiger if it attacks someone, but what a weird, strange world we live in. There was a Joe Rogan bit about Texas and owning big cats like tigers and lions, and I guess there's more. His bit was, I guess there's more big cats living in captivity in Texas than there are in the entire wild of the world, which sounds nuts. Oh, look, is that the actual cat? What a cute cat that is. So that doesn't look fully grown. I know Bengal tigers don't get as big as Siberian tigers, but look at the size of its paws though, man. That's why I would say it's not fully grown, because when they're cubs, their paws get really big, I think, before the rest of their body and their head. And, I'm not a tiger expert, so if I'm wrong, you can... 9-month-old animal. See? I was right. It's a little baby. How cute, man. Kind of makes you want to own a tiger. Then it'll fucking tear your face off. Alright, so... just get back to the I look at MSN on my phone on the computer. It's kind of a weird setup. Let's see what the world news is. Obviously, Israel and Palestine are kind of going at it right now. Israeli military targets home of Gaza's top Hamas leader. It's a fucked up situation, man. It's pretty obvious that the Palestinians living under Israeli rule don't have all the rights. The rights are kind of being trampled on, and so it is understandable why this stuff happens. Obviously, it's not okay to shoot rockets It's not okay to use violence to try to solve your problems. It's just going to cause more problems for the Palestinians in the long run. But this is the kind of shit that breeds terrorism, you know? Inequity, inequality, injustice. You know, treating a whole group of people, a whole nationality of people. I don't know if you should really say race, but this is kind of what you get, man. You get violence, more and more violence. The Israeli military said Sunday it destroyed the home of Gaza's top Hamas leader, the third such attack in as many days after nearly a week of heavy Israeli airstrikes on the territory. The Palestinian militant group ruling Gaza has fired hundreds of rockets into Israel. I mean, you're just not going to get what you want by blowing shit up. I know that these people are desperate. I know that it probably feels like this is their only recourse that they're ever going to get is blowing shit up. But Israel appears to have stepped up strikes in recent days to inflict as much damage as possible on Hamas as efforts to broker a ceasefire accelerate. A U.S. diplomat is in the region to try to de-escalate tensions, and the UN Security Council is set to meet Sunday. I mean, this is just a tale as old as time. The Israeli, really, it's a Jewish Muslim conflict. Makes me think of that movie Munich. It's a pretty good movie. It's about the Iranian terrorists at the Munich Olympics and the aftermath of that, how Israel sent out a bunch of assassins essentially to take out some of the guys that were responsible. And I'm sure a lot of that movie is exaggerated and made up and stuff, but kind of the theme of that movie is that it's a vicious cycle, you know. One side kills people on the other side, and then they retaliate, and it just goes back and forth with no end in sight. And at some point, someone just has to be the bigger man and say enough is enough, you know. I don't know what the answer is. We gave Israel to the Jews, you know. I don't see how. What are we gonna do? Take it away from the Jews? I do think that you need to, I don't know, maybe put sanctions on Israel or something to try to push them to be more humanitarian, more fair to the Palestinians. But you know, the Muslims want them out of there, and that's just not going to happen. No matter how you feel about the situation, like, you have to admit that they're there now. Like, it's a pipe dream thinking that you're gonna kick them out or kill them all. I don't know what the logic there is, you know. And I'm not saying that when these Hamas terrorists do these rocket strikes that they think that that's what's going to happen. You know, they're probably well aware of the situation, but there's got to be peace at some point, you know. The U.S. really has done a piss poor job of brokering peace between Israel and Palestine. And it's a real shame. It's a real shame. Does anyone have any comments about that? I don't even think I have any. 0 viewers. Like I said, this is kind of just a test. But it takes the pressure off, right? When it's a test, it definitely takes the pressure off. When you have one viewer. Is that oh, that's a rocket hitting. Damn. A ball of fire erupts from a building housing various international media, including the Associated Press, after an Israeli strike on Saturday. Well, why is Israel hitting buildings that have the Associated Press in it? You know what I mean? Like, the attack came roughly an hour after the Israeli military ordered people to evacuate the building, which also housed Al Jazeera and a number of offices and apartments. It's not good. The other thing too is like Israel has the Iron Dome anti-missile defense system, which shoots down probably like 90% of the rockets that come their way, if not more. I'm kind of guessing on that, but it honestly feels like, I don't know, man. It feels like they're overreacting. How much damage did Hamas really do, you know? It's brutal. And these fucking Muslim insurgents, whatever you want to call them, Hamas, Boko Haram, like all these groups, they hide behind the civilianry. So it's always tragic. To get them, you end up blowing up families and oh man. All right, so let's see. See if there's anything interesting. Well, I'm all vaccinated up. I don't know about you guys, but it felt good to get my second vaccine and know that Lakers great Kobe Bryant posthumously inducted in the Basketball Hall of Fame. Oh, is that a real story? I mean, obviously Kobe would be inducted in the Hall of Fame. He's fucking Kobe Bryant, but I'm happy to get my vaccine. And I know a lot of people are saying, oh, there's side effects and stuff. I didn't feel shit. I got both shots. I got the Pfizer vaccine. Both shots, didn't feel anything either time. That's not to say, you'll feel 100%. I know a lot of people, some of my relatives, kind of felt shitty afterwards, but that lasted like a day. And it's, obviously getting coronavirus would have probably felt worse. So look at the stupid fucking ad. Celebrities who passed away in 2020, and then it's got a picture of Kevin Sorbo. Kevin Sorbo didn't pass away in 2020. Oh, you have to love the clickbait that these fucking websites roll with. I hope you can hear me all right. Maybe I don't need this thing. I hope you can hear me all right. Of course, there's no way to know. I mean, I'm going to go back and listen to this after the fact, but because I don't have anyone in my chat, no one to tell me if it sounds okay, I'll just have to assume it sounds okay. SNL tackles masks for vaccinated people in ridiculous scene. Masks have entered the chat. I don't know about you guys, but the word mask is hard for me to say. Like, I can really enunciate the k, and it's mask, but that's kind of weird, like mask. A lot of times it's hard for me to say the K without over-enunciating it. Masks have entered the chat on Saturday Night Live. Kate McKinnon as Dr. Anthony Fauci opened this weekend's show with... Oh, yeah, I'm not going to click on that. Jesus Christ. I don't know. I think it's pretty obvious, though, that the virus came out of a lab. That's my opinion, at least. Let me know what you think down in the comments, my 0 viewers. Local fitness center reacts to new CDC mask guidance. Thursday's announcement from the CDC has lifted a huge weight off the shoulders of gym owners for the vast majority of last. Trivium prep protests 4 times 100 sprinters fall in division. What is that, 4? I'm so bad at Roman numerals. Track and field state championships. I'm just reading off bullshit news. I did read this. Where is it? I was looking at Neanderthal stuff. And I read this and I was like, this guy. So obviously I don't know that much about DNA. I'm not a DNA guy. I'm not a scientist. But I can, just looking at this, some of the arguments he lays out, basically he's trying to draw a relation between the Basque people who live in northern France, I think, maybe northern Spain and southwestern France. I don't know. They live in France and Spain. He's trying to draw a relation between them and Neanderthals, and I had heard stuff like this before because I guess the Basques a lot of them kind of look Neanderthal-y. They have kind of small foreheads and big eyebrow ridges, and I don't know, Neanderthal features, big noses, big ears. And it's obviously definitely true that Europeans have more Neanderthal than Asians or African Americans. I think most African Americans probably have 0% or maybe a tiny bit from admixture at some point, but and I do think that it is possible that the Basques have a slightly higher Neanderthal percentage than the rest of Europeans. Some of these arguments that this guy makes are like, how do you know this much about DNA, but you're making these arguments? So he's going into Chile. He says the frequency of the standard Rh factor percentage is very high, 98.6%, but not 100% as in the data of North American investigators. So basically, he's talking about how there's a bunch of Basques that lived in Chile. Over 2.5 million Basque descendants live in Chile. And more DNA stuff. I have a problem with the DNA. I don't know that much about DNA. So when I look at these numbers, it's like RHD negative. So the Basques clearly have a much higher percentage, right? That's obviously some indicator of Neanderthal, I guess, because Africans and Asians have barely any, and then other Europeans have a pretty high number, and Basques have the highest number. But, I don't know that much about DNA. So I wish he would have just said, like, a normal European has 3%, and kind of dumb it down, 3% Neanderthal DNA, and the Basques have 10%, like, instead of putting this RHD neg 21 to 36, RHD pos 65. So I think the whole idea is the RHD negative comes from Neanderthals and the RHD positive comes from Homo sapiens. And so they have a lower number for the positive and a higher number for the negative, meaning that they're more Neanderthal, I guess. Okay, well, I don't have a problem with any of those arguments because I'm not qualified to argue against them. But he talks about society here. He said, historically, Basque society can be described as being somewhat at odds with Roman and later Western European societal norms. And at some point he says that women have all the power, which I find hilarious. He must have said it up here somewhere. Basically, he says that because women control breeding, they have all the power in society, which women control breeding in every society. I mean, that they're the gatekeepers of breeding. You know what I mean? They, I guess you could go around conquering and raping like a lot of cultures have in the past, but like by and large, when you have a civilized society, women are kind of controlling how the genes are spread around. That doesn't mean they're in control of the society. That was like a weird false equivalence he makes somewhere in here. I can't find it, but it's honestly, it doesn't even matter. And then he goes on to say some other weird stuff. He says the Neanderthals paddled everywhere, were top dogs, but because they were Rh negative and Homo sapiens were Rh positive, their genes got lost. Thus, Basques are second level Neanderthals. So how can he say that they were top dogs? Where's the evidence for that? I mean, there's no evidence that a Neanderthal, a average Neanderthal was somehow superior to an average Homo sapien. Now we know that they were maybe stronger and their skeletal structure was more stout. But by the time we were encountering Neanderthals, we had spears and bows and arrows. I think bows and arrows date back something like 70,000 years or some shit. So we had weapons, probably slings, right? And I think having longer, thinner arms is better for throwing stuff. You know, it's better for using a sling, for instance, than having short, stout arms. I just think this idea that they were top dogs, like, where does this guy even get that from? It's your opinion, and it's your opinion based on what? Like, we don't know. They were top dogs. And then it says, finally, several ancient DNA samples have been recovered and amplified from Paleolithic sites in the Basque region. The mtDNA haplogroups sampled differed significantly compared to their modern frequencies. The author concluded that there is discontinuity between ancient and modern Basques. Thus, while Basques, like all Europeans, harbor some very archaic lineages, they are not of undiluted Paleolithic ancestry, nor are they ancestral to large parts of Western Europe. All right, well, that's all fine. Then it says, beautiful women being alpha males. So here he goes again, like, just asserting that if you were in the midst of a Neanderthal, he was going to steal your girl because he was an alpha male. Like, what is this? It's almost like this guy is just being stupid. Like, trying to be funny, maybe. Being alpha males, Neanderthals attracted the most beautiful women, set the standard. Hence the correlation red hair and beauty. Okay, I've seen plenty of beautiful red-headed chicks, but what the fuck is he talking about? You know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Not every guy likes red-headed chicks. And to act like there's a correlation between red hair and beauty, like everyone knows that redheads are the most beautiful or something, is absolutely fucking insane. I'm sure there are a lot of guys out there that would say pasty redheads are fucking ugly, you know? It's absolutely just your opinion. So he's just like making these opinionated assertions. Being alpha males, Neanderthals attracted the most beautiful women, set the standard. Hence the correlation, red hair and beauty. Though many redheads dye their hair blonde to fit fashion. Humans, go figure. All right, so this guy has a thing for redheads, obviously. And then he links red-haired giants, which we all know that the red-haired giant stuff is bullshit. Neanderthalers' delight. And here I thought the Dutch biggest average height was due to nutrition. They just had a very large percentage of redheads, Neanderthal descent. Okay, but here's the problem, man. Neanderthals were shorter than Homo sapiens. They were stouter, thicker skeletal structure. I think their bones were thicker, right? Probably stronger, but they were shorter. So, like, trying to draw a correlation between the myths of red-haired giants and Neanderthals is fucking absurd. Doesn't make any sense. We would have looked like giants to Neanderthals. They were probably an average male Neanderthal was probably like 5'5", you know. Not a big dude. Okay, now here's where it gets even worse. It says, notice the very tall woman at the bottom left. I'm guessing he's talking about her. All right, she looks, maybe he's talking about her. But all these chicks look pretty average, you know, height-wise. Very tall, though, according to this guy. I mean, these are like little girls right here, I think. So that'll just give you an idea. Typical Neanderthal descendant. Tall, red-headed, pretty, big head, long torso, short legs, short arms. She takes pains to disguise the short legs, but measure the length of the femur against the torso. Do not arm wrestle her. She will beat you. Also packs a hair-trigger temper. Okay, I'm sorry, dude, but none of the chicks, and I'm not even especially strong, none of the chicks in this fucking picture could beat me at arm wrestling. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm sorry, Andre. What the fuck are you talking about? Do not arm wrestle her. She will beat you. Also packs a hair trigger. See, this is why I have to think that this is just this guy trying to be funny or something. Summary: if it wasn't for the rhesus factor, we would all be Neanderthals now. And that might be. I can't dispute what he's talking about on a genetic level. I don't know shit about DNA, and this guy seems to know a lot more about it than I do. So good on him. But I can dispute some of the weird connections that he's making. you know, do not arm wrestle her. That was the part of it that really got me, because I looked at the picture and I'm like, all those scrawny ass redheaded broads, and you're saying do not arm wrestle her. I mean, a lot of them probably do pack a temper, because a lot of them are probably Irish, and we all know how Irish Catholic girls are, but it's just absolutely absurd. Yeah, I was looking into Neanderthal stuff. I was just, I find it interesting. The dwarves in I guess in all fantasy, they do kind of look like Neanderthals, and they're a little bit shorter and stockier. Kind of makes you wonder. It would be fascinating if at some point there were. I mean, I know that it's very unlikely that Neanderthals lived past 40,000 years ago, or whatever, 30,000 years ago maybe. But wouldn't it be they had a Neanderthal in ancient Rome or something in the Colosseum? They drug him out of the hills and fucking made him fight. That sounds like a badass book. These are cool pictures. That's really not what they look like. I think Neanderthals were a lot more human than they're given credit for. They had the right anatomy in their throat to be able to speak. Obviously, we can't say for sure if they did speak, but they had big brains. There's evidence of culture. They had art. You know, I think they were a lot like us. We bred with them. Would we breed with a bunch of fucking monkeys? No. I mean, maybe some of us would, but like, would you want to breed with that? Looks like a fucking monkey. You know, almost literally. Yeah, that's not what they look like. It's cool seeing some of this cave art. Just thinking how old it is. Whoa. That's not cave art, is it? What the fuck? What is this? Oh, it's a picture from Auschwitz. Cave art's badass. That's a weird depiction of Neanderthals. Huh. I mean, I think they got the face right. Interesting hair. It's red. They do think Neanderthals had red hair. Interesting. Whoa. What is this guy? Them and us Neander. Is this is this guy from a movie? What is this guy? Fucking terrifying. It's like a Jesus Christ. Them and us, how Neanderthal predation created modern humans. Oh. Well, I don't know about this. They he's making Neanderthal look like a fucking gorilla almost. Like an animal. I mean, we kind of know that, and I'm just talking about the artist. I'm not talking about the author, but we kind of know that they were very human, They had culture and clothing, prehistoric clothing. They didn't look like that. That guy does look mean little fucking mouth. Mythic monsters. Well, I gotta find out more about this them and us. Let's see. So that's Amazon. What if we go them and us? How Neanderthal predation created modern humans. So I guess in this book, Neanderthals are like monsters that are hunting humans? Is that what he means by Neanderthal predation, or does he mean we were hunting Neanderthals? Caradorer, how do you pronounce that? Caradorer Press, Australian presents Them and Us, How Neanderthal Predation Created Modern Humans by Dandy Vendramini. We consider this to be the most important book on human origins since Darwin's Descent of Man. Well, that's high praise. But although I don't know what the fuck this... Oh, well, this I think is his site, so of course they say that. Put aside everything you thought you knew about being human, about how we got here, and what it all means. Years of rigorous scientific research has led Danny Vendramini to a new theory of human Vendramini to a new theory of human origins that is stunning in its simplicity, yet breathtaking in its scope and importance. Praise for Them and Us. I couldn't put it down once I'd started reading it. I don't think I've enjoyed a book more than Them and Us in my life. Vendramini, Neanderthals' predation theory, is one of those groundbreaking ideas that revolutionizes scientific thinking. It represents a quantum leap in our understanding of human origins. NP theory, which is Neanderthal predation theory, reveals that Eurasian Neanderthals hunted, killed, and cannibalized early humans for 50,000 years in an area of the Middle East known as the Mediterranean Levant. I'm not a great reader. Because the two species were sexually compatible, Eurasian Neanderthals and also abducted and raped human females. Well, I don't know about this. I didn't know that there was 50,000 years of overlap. I thought the Neanderthals disappeared pretty quickly after Homo sapiens showed up, relatively speaking, within 10,000 years. Something tells me this is a very controversial theory this guy has. Let's see if I can find anyone talking about it that isn't the actual author or publisher. So are Neanderthals still Jews? What? 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 What the fuck? So are Neanderthals still Jews? And other revelations culled from history's big secrets. I'm flabbergasted. I have to read this. You read the press reports in July about the DNA of Neanderthals, and you quickly gasp at the new findings suggest that this branch of humanoids is much more distantly related to modern Homo sapiens than you may have believed. They are not even direct human ancestors. Now you must apply these findings and examine their implications for the world around you. Specifically, you must weigh their effect on certain theories in circulation. Among them, that Neanderthals still walk and lumber among us, and indeed that they have maintained their cohesion through the ages and still constitute a group apart. And, most importantly, that this group of living, lumbering Neanderthals is the Jews. Check 1, 2. Ooh, I think my volume's a little high. It's alright, no one's watching. How's that? Is that better? Pull this back up. What? How are the Jews Neanderthals? Okay, did I already read this? You read? It's the same exact fucking paragraph. Why do they have the same paragraph twice in a row? I feel like Slate is a pretty big publication, right? It's worth noting too that this fucking article is from 1997. I was 9 years old. That's insane. All right, you laugh? That may be a mistake. At least two theorists working separately have concluded precisely this. The Jews are surviving Neanderthals. Laughing at such ideas suggests you believe them to be absurd, but the validity of such theorizing is beside the point. What matters is the existence of such a premise, because it validates the question it seeks to answer. What explains the Jews? What do you mean, what explains the Jews? The Jews are people. I mean, the Jews require a meta-explanation. That Jews require a meta-explanation is the problematic premise, one that even Philo-Semites have sometimes fallen for. Anyway, if you laugh at the idea that the Jews are Neanderthals, what will you do when you learn, as you shortly will, that the Jews are really aliens from outer space? Oh, no. A long and extraordinary history of speculation concerns the ultimate identity of the Jews. In its course, learned fellows have repeatedly announced that they have stumbled on a big secret, a hidden truth that explained Jewish survival, character, behavior, and even the historical antipathy towards Jews by others. That big secret has often been that Jews are not what they seem to Jews are not what they seem to be. This line of thought provides for a certain macabre? Is it pronounced macabre or macabre? That's a weird one. I mean, I know the word, but I think it's macabre, right? But then you read it and you're like, macabre? Entertainment. But it is also a lesson in how the most inane ideas can have the most appalling consequences. Here is a whirlwind tour of the field in approximately chronological order. Oh my God. I really stumbled through that last sentence there. The Jews are a race of lepers, an ancient argument in circulation in the 1st century. We know of it because Flavius Josephus, the traitorous Jewish general who joined the Romans, bothers to refute it in his surviving writings. Josephus attributes the argument to the Egyptian name Manetho, who, in a counterversion to the book of Exodus, asserted that the Hebrews weren't let out of Egyptian bondage by Moses. Instead, they were an outcast group of lepers forced to settle together. Well, I could kind of believe, I mean, you could see that maybe leprosy was like spreading through, but we already know at this point that the Jews were never slaves in Egypt, so it's all bullshit. But you could see that maybe, you know, a bunch of them were lepers at some point. I mean, lepers are still humans, you know. It's not like calling all Jews Neanderthals or anything. I'm sure Jewish communities did have leprosy at different points. Instead, they were an outcast group of lepers forced to settle together, who were eventually chased out of the country by patriots. The existence of such a story is not necessarily evidence of general antipathy toward Jews. It is a likely reflection of the long struggle between Hellenism and the only Mediterranean culture of consequences that held out against it, Judaism. The idea that Jewish lineage is impure or malevolent reappears in Visigoth Spain in the early medieval period, and most notoriously in Nazi Germany. Well, that's pretty stupid. The idea that all Jews are lepers. The Jews are a race of devils. I mean, is this just anti-Semitic? I know this guy's kind of making fun of it, but I only clicked on it because it said that the Jews are Africans. Well, I think if you trace it back far enough, we're all Africans. The Jews are Neanderthals. Okay, this is the only one I want to read. The rest of them are going to be racist bullshit, and then YouTube's going to think I'm some sort of neo-Nazi. The Jews are Neanderthals, advanced in this decade by heretic anthropologist Stan Gooch, nice, who has also argued that the original full-blooded Neanderthals were telepathic. I want to learn more about Stan Gooch. This guy sounds like a cool dude. The thesis was taken up last year by Canadian Michael Bradley and is an incoherent book, Chosen People from the Caucasus. Wow, that's pretty harsh, his incoherent book. Bradley is known for a book-length rant titled The Iceman. Dude, this guy doesn't like Bradley. A book-length rant titled The Iceman Inheritance, which identifies the origins of white racial evil in prehistoric psychosexual. What does psychosexual mean? Like you're having sex with your mind? Psychosexual tensions of some sort. Chosen People is an extension of his ideas. Biblical evidence that Jews are Neanderthals includes the Esau incident. Esau is hairy, remember? I don't know about that incident. I don't know that much about the Bible, though. The reason Jews have an injunction against portraying God is that Neanderthals cannot draw. I think that's been disproven since 1997. However, Bradley once adduces evidence that they were quite good with numbers and were overly sentimental about their mothers. Where did he get that evidence? What's the evidence? Interestingly, Bradley also believes that modern European Jews are Khazars, which means he maybe Khazars, which means he must argue not only that biblical Hebrews were Neanderthals, but that so were Khazars. He actually does so. News that Neanderthal kind should be welcome to admirers of Bradley's work. Among his blurbus, by the way, is Dr. Leonard Jeffries of New York City College. Okay. I mean, how does he know that Neanderthals were good with numbers and were overly I mean, this is just hilarious. So, I guess obviously Jews are good with numbers, right? Are Jews overly sentimental about their mothers? Is that another Jew thing? And how does he know that Neanderthals were good with numbers and overly sentimental about their moms? I mean, how could you possibly know that? Should I read the alien one? That might be kind of interesting. First argued in 1974 by French thinker Marc Dem in his Les Juifs de l'espace, de l'espace. This thesis holds that Jews are ultimately space aliens, and that explains their difficult history. Dem's book was part of the flood of ancient astronaut books inspired by the huge success of Eric von Daniken's Chariots of the Gods, and appeared here in 1977. Von Daniken, like many of his imitators, saw evidence for ancient visitations in the Bible, especially in such passages as the description of Ezekiel's flying chariot, deducing that the whole of the Old Testament was the work of aliens is therefore perfectly logical. Well, I wasted my time reading that. I thought that the author of the article was gonna present a good argument for it, but kind of clickbaited me with an article that's 24 years old. These Neanderthals weren't cannibals, so who ate them? Stone Age hyenas. Well, it's been fun. I gave it a whirl. I think I had maybe one viewer at one point. Cool. I didn't plan on going for an hour. I went for an hour. It's kind of cool. Well, if you watch this, I probably won't be doing these very often, if ever. This channel is kind of like, I don't know, it's got 3 subscribers or something. There's something nice about knowing that I can come on here and I don't have to worry about people watching it. You might be asking, then why live stream it? Well, it's kind of like a diary, I guess. I can, in 30 years, I can look back at my musings. I don't know. Anyhow, I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream there. Um, I really don't have much to say. Uh, if you do like this sort of thing, then leave a comment telling me you like it. Based on history, based on what people have told me in the past or not told me in the past. I'm not very good at this kind of thing, so this kind of thing doesn't do very good, doesn't go very far, um, and which is why I stopped doing it. Uh, if you're interested in my music, Cameron Fielder, just type in Cameron Fielder, and I